Tell me what you're seeing, what you're feeling, and then we'll dive into all that you've been doing.
Yeah, man. I mean, right now, I'm seeing a lot of interesting use cases and projects in the NFT landscape. You know, the one I'm most excited about this week is Geno Pets. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
I don't know that one.
Oh, so Geno Pets is fascinating because what it does is it says, one, I'm going to show you how to, use an NFT and mint an NFT using Solana, but ultimately the goal is to create a Geno Pet. So the whole premise that they're going for is move to earn. And what that is this whole concept that you have to move around to earn points and grow your Genopet, which is ultimately an NFT. So think like Tamagotchi meets Pokemon Go meets like Apple Fitness uh, activity goals. It's
Cool.
all in one, and it's all connected on the blockchain. They've got an app you download. It's on iOS and Android, and you mint your Geno pet. You go out, you hit your move goals, and your pet grows, and you can get very rare traits by being super consistent, and you can also sell your Geno pets to make a little bit of a crypto income. So it's a fascinating project. It's coming together. They're launching this week. So as far as things I'm looking at in the NFT space that I'm actually kind of excited by, I like this because the impact here is it's a net positive, right? People get to play a game, but they also get to be healthier by way of playing the game, and it also encourages people to learn about NFTs. So you can't get mad about that.
I love it, man. And you know what always impresses me is how you are just on it. You're always on like the hot new thing. You see the thing. So I'm super curious. You know, how do you begin to get your information?
Man, you know what I do? Well, for people that are asking me that question, I always tell them to start off with this right here. Go get the NFT Handbook. I put all of the vernacular and all of the terminology and just beginnings that you need to know on how to buy, create, or collect NFTs right there in the book. And then as far as staying relevant, there's obviously so many things you can do from being in Discord communities to Twitter to just following artists and just being a part of the I would say the trend. For me, what I personally do is I just follow the creators, right? Like I've been in the space long enough to kind of know who's on the scene, who's who's connected, and I try to make it easy for people too by posting some of what my stuff on my own Twitter feed, and then I've got like a site nftqt.com where I post just things that I find fascinating, and I understand that NFTs can be super overwhelming. So what I always recommend people is, one, get a baseline understanding of what an NFT is and how it can impact, your industry. And then go pay attention to things that you care about. Like there's so many different verticals and variables in NFTs, from everything from sports and gaming to arts and crafts to DAOs, which are taking the tokens and then almost evolving it into some type of governance structure where it feels very similar to the voting rights in companies. So there's just so many things, and it doesn't matter if you're a sports geek, a nerd, or a business tycoon. You can find your area and quickly learn by doing here.
It's such a good point, right? The versatility of NFT as a digital wrapper to be almost anything.
Yes.
What I'm super curious to hear from you is, when were you hooked? What got you? Like, when did you get it?
Well, for me, I started one of the first digital art marketplaces back in 2015, known as 23 Vivi. And at that point, I'm this black kid in Wisconsin telling people to buy digital art. And, we were on the Bitcoin blockchain. So we didn't have a lot of the smart contracts that you now are afforded with the Ethereum and other um, and other derivatives of that. And so where I was just kind of enamored was the whole concept of digital scarcity, right? I saw what
Yeah.
had happened with Bitcoin and the whole concept where people could, own this currency that was defensible by nature of this instrument known as a blockchain. And I was just like, the blockchain's cool for currency, but like digital collectibles are so much more fascinating to me because I don't think this Bitcoin thing will ever replace money. But I do see it replacing, you know, music. I do see it replacing movies. I do see it replacing .psds. Like, why would I ever use a PSD if I could have a NFT, right? And I mean, obviously, I understand like file compatibility and formats, but at the time, that's how I was thinking about it. And so I was like, we need to like make this available right now. And again, Ethereum hadn't even been created yet, so
Yeah.
there was a lot of a lot of headwinds that we met that basically pushed us back, and we had to go back to the bunker. And I went and worked in the healthcare industry for a few years, and then this thing known as the NFT manifested, the ones that we transact and trade today. And it turns out a lot of the skills that we learned back then are still here today. So I hopped back in, and here I am.
What do you begin to tell people that are interested in accessing this space? Where do they need to begin? They can obviously pick up the book, get the book. How? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think for access and when it comes to NFTs, I think it all starts with, you want to build up a little bit of a surplus of crypto, right? Like, if you're not already, you want to probably start dollar cost averaging, as soon as you possibly can into crypto. So that way, when it's time for you to really start to move, you're not held up by the bottleneck of, oh, I need Ethereum, or oh, I need Solana, or I need whatever the token is that you're trying to you're trying to participate on, right? And so what I end up doing is I just tell people like, hey, spend like your first 3 to 4 weeks just learning, right? And just watch passively. I know you're gonna see projects and drops. You might miss out. It's okay. Like, you're in the learning phase, and once you've basically been primed and you feel like pretty comfortable when you can follow along with the chats and what's going on, then I would say, definitely get you a wallet and, put some crypto into that wallet. And I recommend people, buy, a couple of free NFTs off OpenSea, because you can hit the ticker and you can set the price to free. And then, you can start to build a collection, right? You're going to pay the gas, of course, but you're going to now understand, what like, accepting and the transactions when you get the prompts, and you're going to understand kind of how the ether scan works. You'll see those IDs. Like, you'll get familiar with the tools of the trade by doing. Then once you have done that, I recommend, probably minting something yourself. I think OpenSea or any of the sites have, pretty straightforward linear ways to mint something. And, if you can sell it, sell it. If not, I would say, give it away for free, tell your friend about it. And, now you've got a friend in yourself, and you guys are going back and forth with the wallet. But then after that, once you've got a wallet and you understand it, go have fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying things out. Like, this industry is so new that if you try something and it doesn't work, don't be discouraged. You just learn that didn't work, but keep iterating, because if you find something that does, the payouts that can oftentimes be massive, as you've seen too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a good point, right? It's like, you have to understand the fundamental mechanism of this system, which is, of course, blockchain.
Yes.
So if you don't understand the difference between, a private and public key, if you don't understand what it means to secure that, if you can't make, a transaction on a blockchain network, if you don't understand what the difference between, Ethereum, Solana, and Tezos is, you have to effectively walk before you can run.
For sure.
And, we've had kind of years of that training, so perhaps we do take it for granted. Talk to me maybe like about the future of the medium and really what excites you.
Yeah, so if you're a beginner and you're just looking at NFTs and you're like, where is this going? I like to liken it to that of the typewriter when it met, Microsoft Office or Word at the time, right? So you have Microsoft Word, which allows you to write a Word document or a document on your computer and then print it out, and then like now you can effectively do what you could have done before with a typewriter and maybe some whiteout. The typewriter was cool. It was very tactile. You put your paper in, you get what you get out. Now you've got like this written document that's typed. But the efficiencies weren't really there, in the sense of like, if you wanted to transition that document elsewhere, or you want to send it somewhere, like you had to put it in the mail, and there was just like a lot of steps. What Microsoft Word is it created a format, right? So the .doc or the .doc X is probably what we're using today, and now it's just all online in the cloud. But the .doc created a format that could be easily understood and read. So Colborn, I'm sure you remember this, but me and you are at our early years. We still handed in papers
Yeah.
via paper.
Yeah.
Like you put the paper in the basket, and your teacher would be like, oh, "Okay, I'm collecting essays today." You staple your stuff and turn it in, and that was that. And then by the time we got towards graduation, there was no more papers and baskets. There was upload your document to the Dropbox or whatever your school system used, and there was a fundamental difference there. That doc that allowed you to just upload it online. They had plagiarism checkers. They could know when you turned it in, so there was no lost documents. It was, like you probably had auto save, so you didn't lose your paper if the power went out. And there was a lot of efficiencies that were gained. I look at NFTs in very much a similar way, right?
Yeah.
The old analog era was digital files, no true scarcity, no true identity, no real soul. Post NFTs, a document that's digital or a image or any digital file that exists now has the opportunity to be an NFT. And once it's an NFT, there are smart contracts and optionality that is built into some of those smart contracts that'll afford us possibilities we cannot even fathom today.
Yeah.
No one would have ever thought the typewriter, when you typed a document, there would automatically be an element where it would check all your grammar, or it would check for plagiarism.
Yeah.
We saw that with the .doc X in the format change, right? So Microsoft Office was the catalyst at which we were able to get that. We're now in an era where this is very much the same thing. Like we have this. I mean, I know technically speaking, this is not correct, so don't follow it. But it's a great mental model. An NFT is just a dot extension, right? Like the same way if I say, let's make digital music, and you're like, okay, let's get the MP3s or let's get the WAV files. And when I say, let's go create digital files that have value and scarcity, you should think .NFT, right? And that makes it much easier to communicate and think about the future possibilities without getting into the weeds of smart contracts and metadata and JSON and APIs and all that. Because I think that when we as techies talk that, we get it, but we've had years of training and understanding to get there. If I tell my grandma that I'm making a .doc or a .docx, she's like, oh, okay, you're in Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
Okay, I save it. I know how to work with that format. If I tell my grandma I'm sending her an MP3 or an MP4, she'll understand it. I just need to get across that barrier and say, this is a .nft, and like that file protected, it's scarce. I can't copy it. I can't duplicate it. And if you lose it, you lose all your money.
Yeah. Fire, man. And it just goes back to, right, like certificate of authenticity, provable provenance, and then like open access market system to buy, sell. I think, Adobe hinted at it, right? Like export as NFT. Just as simple as that, right? Like a one-click button as a file format.
Dude, and we're going to get there.
Yeah.
We're already starting to see big companies start to think about what their NFT strategy is. It's only been a year, but like, when Microsoft Word first came out, people were kind of stuck. They were like, well, what do we do with the Word doc? And, some people were even like writing it in Word, saving it, and then typing it on a typewriter to get it out of the computer because they didn't have printers.
Yeah.
And then printers started to decline in price. And, the ink started to be something that you could buy and bring home. And then that kicked off a whole new revolution where you could take that Word document out of the computer and now you had a physical piece of paper.
So, this is always a big question, and this is going to be the last one I hit you with because I know you got to fly.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so like for you, because I see you got physical collectibles behind you, like why do you still feel ownership when you don't have to hold it, right? Why does that NFT feel real to you? Yeah.
So digital ownership is something that I get. It can be tricky to wrap your head around, right? But I see it as I guess I'm weird in the sense that I see digital ownership is no different than physical. It's just, I have an account or I have a wallet, and the items are in that wallet instead of in my space. As a minimalist, I'm actually much more I much more prefer the digital collectible, right? Like I have a ton of digital movies and lots of digital music that I actually own and have purchased.
Yeah.
And largely because, I can take a device, I can change a device, and there's an interoperability element there where I still have the same collection. If I move right now, it's a pain to move all of the assets in this house to the next apartment or the next house. And so what I think about is, one, this digital world, it can feel a little foreign, right? Because you might not have that physical item, but because you don't have that physical item, you get to pick, the device you want to experience that stuff on. So if you want to put your NFT on an ultra short throw projector and, project it in your living room, you totally can because it's in your digital wallet. Yeah. If you want to then go and put it on your iPhone or you put it on your Ledger hardware wallet, you can totally do that because they're digital collectibles that you can migrate around pretty effortlessly. And like it's a new way of thinking, but like if you've ever played a video game, when you hop in your account, all the things you collected or all the things you've unlocked are right there at your fingertips. And it's not much different, right, with the NFT world. And so I think that for people that want that tactile experience, they want to really be able to unlock, a physical item, and that's what they're into. Digital collectibles probably will never be their jam, right? We're probably gonna have to make like what is it, the electronic objects, those frames where they put the digital object in the actual physical frame, right, like the photo frame. Like those are tight. Like I think that might be something that is a great segue. But until we make that adjustment, I mean, I'm of the notion that digital is the future. It's the wave. Hop on it, become an early adopter, and you'll have a very, very nice collection to look at, 20, 30 years from now.
Look, I totally agree with you, and I think it goes back to the point is like we sit on that generational divide when things were all physical and then they became digital. So we already had to go through that learning. The kids younger than us, all they know is digital, right? Yes. Right? They want those digital objects, whether it's Fortnite skins or, Minecraft, whatever, hit me.
Think about this. It is all digital, right? Yeah. We still remember an iPod Shuffle. They only know Spotify playlists.
Yeah.
Think about that. The iPod Shuffle was our playlist, right? Exactly. You didn't know what song was coming on. There was no screen. You just had a little shuffle. And then that was still physical for us, right? So it's no different than a Spotify Discover Now playlist, right? It's like you didn't know what was coming on your shuffle. You just put some stuff on there and you played it and you went around about your day. But now, like the kids, to your point, they only know like the digital only versions of a lot of the things that we did have a last generation technical possibility of.
Yeah. All right, man. Like, thank you so much for your time. Like, hit the people with some plugs, where they can find you.
Man, I'm always kicking it in the metaverse. That's probably where you can find me nowadays. But if you're in the social sphere, you're in that Web 2.0 era, I guess you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, my website. All of my handles are at QuHarrison. And beyond that, if you want to know my thoughts and just what I'm working on in the NFT space, you can find me at nftqt.com.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Breaking news.